Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see you today. It is 9 o'clock, and I said we were going to start at 9 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and jump straight on into it. I'm so grateful that every single one of you have joined us. And by the way, we're even live on TikTok this morning. So I just got 1,000 subscribers on TikTok. So we're going to share this with that part of the world too, because I think growth for entrepreneurs is so important, especially in the world that we're in with the changes that are happening so rapidly. And it's just so important that we all band together and grow during this time, real estate and non-real estate, just business in general, because together we truly achieve more. And I want to start by reading a quick story out of a book called No Limits by Dr. John Maxwell. As many of you have heard me share this story before, and I want to share it with you again this morning. And here's what it is. It's about Henry Ford. And it says, when I was a kid, I heard stories from my mother's side of the family about Henry Ford. My mother's uncles knew him pretty well. In the mid-1890s, Ford began building his first vehicle made with bicycle parts and a combustion engine. He worked on it in a shop behind the rental house where he and his wife lived. Remember, this was a rental house. He did not own it. Of course, he believed that people's capacity for travel could be increased. Of course, he faced his share of doubters. People thought he couldn't do it. Others advised against it because they believed there weren't enough roads built to accommodate a vehicle that powered itself, and horses were fast enough. But Ford was undaunted. In 1896, Ford completed his project. He named his vehicle the quadricycle. However, he'd made one small miscalculation. It was too big to fit through the doorway of his shop. So what did he do? He knocked out the bricks to get it out. He knocked out the bricks of a home that he did not own so that he could get it out. He wasn't going to allow the door's lack of capacity to limit his capacity. Ford, of course, went on to found the Ford Motor Company in 1903. His belief in unlimited capacity helped him take car manufacturing from a slow, expensive, meticulous, hand-built process to a fast, efficient, automated process that put the automobile within the reach of everyday people. By 1924, the company had produced 10 million cars. 3 years later, it had produced more than 15 million. Trying to build your life without removing your limitations and increasing your capacity is like building a car in a small shed and being unwilling to knock out the wall to get the car out on the road. All locked up, your capacity can't really go anywhere. Remove the limitations and the world is open to you. Now, can you imagine if for just a moment, Henry Ford said, you know what? This is the sign that I probably should have just given up on this because the place that I built this in isn't even big enough for me to get my quadricycle or automobile out. If he had taken that as the sign, where would we be today? Would many of us have had the opportunity to ride in a super fast Ford Mustang with the top down, wind blowing through the hair that we still have left on top of our head? Probably not, because he would have let that capacity of the building prevent him from making it out. Now, why do I share this with you? I share this with you because so often we place limitations on ourselves. We allow the beliefs of others to be adapted by us so that we believe what they say. We believe their belief is important to us. And there's several examples of this, of limiting beliefs in our own society. In bold, with the original one, there was a story about it, about limiting beliefs being placed on top of other people without them even really knowing about it. And the example that they used was of monkeys. You see, there were two monkeys that were placed inside of a facility. And in the middle of this area that they were placed in was a pole. And at the top of the pole was some bananas. And each of them went to try to get the bananas from the top of the pole. And as soon as they got close to it, they were shot with a water cannon. They were shot with a water cannon. And this happened a couple of times. They went up to the top, try to get the bananas, and they were shot with a water cannon again. And then what they did is they pulled one of those monkeys out. They left one of the originals in, and they introduced a new monkey that had never experienced this before. Well, that new monkey started to climb the pole, and as soon as they got close to the top of the pole, the other monkey pulled them down. Well, there was no water cannon at this point in time. The other monkey just pulled them down because of his experience. Now, they did this again. They took the original monkey out and they replaced it with another monkey who had never had this experience before. And now you have two monkeys in this cage that have never experienced the water cannon. And this second monkey who's never experienced the water cannon starts to climb the pole. And the other one who was just pulled down by that first monkey who had experienced it pulls the one down as well. And now neither of them are in this cage knowing why they shouldn't get the bananas. They just know that they shouldn't get the bananas because it's quote unquote dangerous. When in all reality, they've never experienced why. That's an example of limiting beliefs being placed on us. My challenge to you today would be this: take those limiting beliefs that you believe right now and challenge them. Ask yourself, why do I believe this? Is this really true? Can it be changed? Because I promise you, when you look deep into yourself, it can be. Now, here's the thing I love about entrepreneurs. We like doing things and we like taking action. However, sometimes we like taking action based upon shiny objects that we find because it's quick, it's easy, it's that magic bullet that we've all been shared, that we've all heard about, that if you just did this, it will take you to that level and you'll be able to skip steps 2 through 5 and you'll be able to just get there. Well, my friends, I hate to break it to you, but there is no magic bullet in entrepreneurship. There is no magic bullet in real estate. And what I want to challenge you with is this rule of 5 that I heard about from John Maxwell. And here's what it is. Imagine for just a second that you had a backyard full of trees, and you went out every single morning with an axe, and you took just 5 swings at that tree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you did that every single morning to the exact same tree, what will eventually happen? It'll fall, right? Eventually that tree will fall if you choose the same one every single day over and over and over and over and over again. Eventually that tree will fall. Now, if you went out there with an axe and every single day you chose a different tree, and let's say you had a yard with 100 different trees in them, and every single day you chose a different tree and you hit each different tree 5 times, what's going to happen? You're going to have a bunch of wounded trees and no progress. Number 1, you've got to make sure you're taking the right actions consistently every single day. And number 2, you've got to make sure you have the right tools. Now, what do I mean by saying you've got to have the right tools? Well, imagine for just a second that instead of going out there with an axe, you went out there with a baseball bat and you took that baseball bat and you hit that tree as hard as you possibly could. What would happen then? Well, your hands would hurt really bad, but you would have made no progress because you would have been taking a blunt object and hitting another blunt object and nothing would happen other than maybe a little bit of sap comes out of the tree and your hands hurt really bad the rest of the day. So you've got to take the right actions and you've got to have the right tools. Now, in real estate, if you've ever been to Bold before, we teach the 5 things that you should do every single day, which are lead generate, lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, and practice scripts and role play. Now, those are the 5 things that you should be doing every single day as a real estate agent. But Scott, hold on. I lead generated and I set appointments, but I didn't get any contracts. What do I do then? Well, as Brian McKnight says, you start back at 1, right? Lead generate and lead follow-up, lead generate, lead follow-up, lead generate, lead follow-up. Practice scripts and role play. Do that as consistently as you can, because when you do those 3 things, eventually 4 and 5 negotiating contracts and closing deals are going to show up if you consistently do it every single day. That's you sharpening your axe every single day so that you have the right tools, the right resources, and the right mindset to make it happen. Without the right mindset, you're not going to achieve the greatness that you could have achieved if you don't start the day with a positive mindset and a positive mental attitude. Now, it's important to remember that every single day as an entrepreneur, you're not going to get up and automatically just feel like doing the things that you know you should do. This is where having things set up intentionally comes about, so that you do the activities that you're supposed to do, even when you feel like you're not going to do them. Now, this is the time of the year where so many people are setting their goals, and oftentimes they set their goals as a transactional amount or a amount of money that they want to make. And I think that's an incredible thing to do. Yet here's what we should also be connecting to it. I want to close this many transactions so I can. I want to close this amount of deals and it will allow me to. Or if you have a family, this many deals will allow us to. This many deals will allow us to go to, let's just say Disney World, because that's, one of the places that my kids love. This many deals will allow us to do that. That way, when you wake up on those mornings where you don't feel as motivated and as inspired as you normally would, you can take it back to the reason why those things are important. On my phone, actually, I can't show you my phone because I'm using it over here right now, but on my phone, if you were to pick it up, you'd see a picture of my son on one screen, on my lock screen, and a picture of my daughter on the home screen of my phone. Now, why do I do that? Because that for me is the reminder when things aren't going as I would like for them to, or when I'm not feeling like doing the things that I should, because trust me, I have those moments too often. When I pick up that phone, it reminds me who I'm doing it for and what's important to me. Now, I want to leave you with this before we open it up and have a conversation with one another. John Maxwell, a couple weeks ago, at an event that I was at called Exchange, he shared with us what he said is going to be called his book, Second Half Certainties. And he said when he was like 30 years old, he started with like 72 things that he was absolutely certain of. And as he has gotten older, he's now realized that there aren't as many things that he's certain of. And there's only 13 of those things now that he says he is absolutely certain of. And number 6 on this list is so important. It's this. Number 6 is intentional living maximizes your life. Intentional living maximizes your life. Now, what in the world does that mean? Well, growth is not automatic. Growth is not just going to happen. You don't wake up and just automatically grow. And we face this challenge in our society. Some people out there actually believe that when you graduate from high school or college, all of your learning is completely done. That's a very flawed belief, yet there are some people who truly believe it. And growth has only really just started, in my opinion, once you've finished either of those things, because now you've got life to learn. And if you want to continue to get better, you have to choose to do that every single day. So growth, number 1, growth is not automatic. Number 2 on here, go from good intentions to good actions by living intentionally. Have you ever heard somebody say, well, it wasn't my intention to hurt you, but the actions were completely contrary to that? Your intentions and your actions must always connect to one another. And there's a huge gap between sounding good and doing good. And here's what we should remember. Small actions, even the smallest action every single day, is far better than the greatest intention to take an action. Small actions over time add up to big results. Big intentions over time with no action add up to missed opportunities, lost dreams, inaction. The if scenario, if I only had. You know, there have been many studies done that when people are toward the end of their life, they ask them, you know, what are the biggest regrets that you've had? And it was not the things that they did, it was the things they hadn't done. It was the actions they hadn't taken. Don't fall for the win-then mentality. When this happens, then I'll be happy. When I do this, then I'll be great. Take action now, and the results will follow. Even if you feel like the action isn't big enough, the smallest action is greater than the biggest intention. There's a Japanese philosophy called Kaizen, which is essentially this: every single day, get just a little bit better. And that little bit better that you do will eventually lead to you becoming a completely different person in a good way. That, my friends, is intentional. So I want to open it up to you guys right now. What are the biggest things that you struggle with as an entrepreneur? What are the biggest things that you struggle with as a real estate agent? And what are some of the greatest successes you've had over the last week? Just go ahead and hit that unmute button or raise your hand. I've got all day. I can wait.
Okay.
Mama Shu, take it away.
Yeah. Hi, good morning. Thank you for getting us together. So struggles in the past week or struggles in general for real
Struggles
estate?
in general.
I mean, it's definitely my attention span for sure. And you know, if I look at my calendar, I follow my calendar, I'm good. You know, doing the activities, I'm good. I actually feel better when I do the activities. And so the biggest struggle is the distraction. So being home is very distracting for me. But the biggest success I had in the past week is just every conversation, every person I've met, even at a wedding Saturday evening, it was really just about having the conversations about real estate without even having the conversations. Like, I don't even tell people I'm a realtor. I just, you know, I just connect with them no matter, I find a way. And then, you know, creating that connection. And that's my strength always.
Yeah, you mentioned that when you do the activities on your calendar, you feel better, right? Yeah, and that's one of the biggest struggles that I find people in general have is they'll make these glorious looking calendars that, oh my gosh, if you only did it, the amount of things that you would be able to accomplish, you would put Elon Musk to shame in all the businesses that he's changed, let alone he sticks his foot in his mouth from time to time. But he's very intentional with his calendar. And what I would challenge every single person on this call to do is look at your calendar. And if there are things on it that you haven't done in months or weeks, take those things off and start all over and put the things on there that you actually are committed to do. So let's look at lead generation for a moment. If you put on there and you say, I'm going to lead generate for 3 hours every single day, and you've never lead generated for 30 minutes in your life, you are setting yourself up for failure. Start with 30 minutes and then increase that next week to 45 after you've gotten the 30 minutes done. Set yourself up for success. Set yourself up so that at the end of the day, you can look back and say, ah, I got that done. Otherwise, you look at your calendar at the end of the day, if you even choose to look at it again, and you feel defeated. So put those things on there that you really, really are going to do. This is why Gary Keller says to start with time blocking your vacations, and then time block your growth, and then time block the activities. Why? Because those first two are more important than the work side of things. Not that work's not important, but we have to build our life around, we have to build our business around the life that we want to have, the life that we want to happen. And often we just jump directly to the work activities and we don't think about the life side of things. And so I would challenge you, if you're not following your calendar, if you don't even have a calendar, to start with putting in the things that you are 100% absolutely committed to taking action on. All right, anyone else?
Hey, Scott, it's Lance.
What's up, Lance?
Hey, buddy, I just wanted to say that I appreciate you stepping into this and getting us going. And I look forward to everything you have to teach us.
Well, I look forward to being here with you. And it's not just going to be me teaching. I've got some pretty incredible guests who are going to be joining me in the mornings, and I'm going to interview them for you live and allow you guys to ask them some questions. And they're not just from real estate. They're from all kinds of business backgrounds, people that I've been able to build relationships with over the last 10 years. And some of them will just hang in there. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. So here's what I want to challenge you with today. Find those limiting beliefs that you have and challenge them. Don't take the limiting belief at face value. Ask yourself, why do I believe this? Is this really true? And can it be changed? One of the number one limiting beliefs that I hear right now in real estate that I think if you're in real estate, you should be doubling down on like crazy is this EXPIRED thing, expireds. Some of the limiting beliefs I hear is, well, they didn't sell their house the first time. They're never going to use a real estate agent again, and they're scared of me. Guess what? Those are the people who are raising their hand higher than they ever have before because they need help. They need somebody to come and show them, look, just because the last person wasn't able to get it done doesn't mean that I can't help you get this done. And here's how we're going to do it differently. Here is how we're going to be intentional. There's that word again. Intentional needs to be in your daily vocabulary for everything that you do. Here's how we're going to be intentional with this time to give you a different result. And by the way, you're going to get way further with those expired people by going and knocking on the door than you are with picking up the phone and calling them, because anybody can pick up the phone and call them. Not everyone will go and knock on their door and say, hey, I'm here because I care and I want to help. I hope you all have an amazing day. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, and I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy.